Welcome everyone in Facebook, in the domain of Facebook, our virtual community, which is a literal community, I must add. It's not just virtual. We're all part of it. We're all in this together. That tomorrow night is the 111th yartzeit of Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the founder of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, who, if you remember, I mentioned this in the past, passed away while he was fleeing Napoleon Bonaparte during the War of 1812 into 1813. And therefore he died far away from his community, the town, the city of Liadi. He passed away in a place called Vienna, and he was buried in the next larger settlement nearby called Hadich, which is, I think, still is south of Belarus or northern Ukraine. I can't remember. And he's there. He's interned there till now, and people go visit there. I would say like this: though our program, we're open to all streams of Judaism, and particularly Hasidism, because that's our focus. Yet, on a personal level, as one who did grow up in the Chabad community, I have somewhat of a Chabad bias, and in this, just for transparency's sake, even though I may not be your typical Chabadnik, Chabad full-fledged Chassid, but the teachings of Chabad were the ones that have most influenced me of Chassidic teachings, and still resonate with me a lot. I have certainly expanded my Chassidic repertoire, and I love including them all. So I'm just mentioning that therefore, time allowing, hopefully we will bring in stuff from. Hopefully we will be able to focus on the Alter Rebbe of Chabad, Shneur Zalman Liadi, the founder of Chabad's yartzeit. So my feeling is to just for the next few minutes, just to end off with actual reading of how the Alter Rebbe in Tanya takes on this very notion of how to deal with distracted thoughts in prayer. And we will see he has a slightly different approach to it, and then we'll explain why. So just to give you the setup. So Tanya was a book written by Shneur Zalman Liadi, the founder of Chabad, as a book of teachings and advice for his students who were coming to him asking for support and advice for their things in their life, spiritual practice, and so on. So it's framed in a way of almost like rabbinic homiletics, starting off with a piece of the Talmud and explaining. Basically, he goes through what is the nature of the tzaddik, the righteous person, and then on the polar opposite, the nature of the rasha. Rasha is the evil, bad person. Then there is the intermediate, the average person who's in the middle, who's known as the Beinani, the one who's in the middle. The book of Tanya is written for the Beinani, the person who's in the middle. Okay. So a bunch of chapters in the beginning, he goes to explain the difference of those three archetypes of people. Then he starts focusing on the Beinani that the book is designated for, how to deal with things having to do with thought, speech, and action. Because basically the idea is the Beinani's essence of the soul is not a tzaddik. It will always be in perpetual battle of the good inclination and with the negative inclination. Unlike we said before that David, who killed the evil inclination, and there was only the divine soul, the Beinani, it has both souls. So that basically most humans is like we have double souls in us, a good soul and a bad soul, this divine soul and the animalistic soul, this is called. Okay? And this is in fact the dynamic of life, is that always being challenged, always to see every instant what to deal with in this scenario, both in thoughts, how to deal, in our speech and action. Who is going to win here in this situation? Will our good side or our bad side, right? And in fact, in chapter 26, he gives the metaphor of wrestlers, two people really at close combat, trying to push each other down. And as he says there, it's even doesn't have to do with the size or strength of which soul. And even if you're if you're the good soul, your divine soul is you think is smaller than your divine. But if you have a positive attitude, if you're if you have a sense of belief that you're going to win, and you're going to be in a state of simcha, of joy, happiness, positivity, then even the weakling in a wrestling match could throw down the big fat bully. Okay, that he literally says this. That it's not the size that matters, but it's the attitude and the will that makes all the difference. And then from that, in chapter 26, he gives examples of how to deal with it in practical life, both when we're out in different scenarios of in the street or study. And then in chapter 28, which we're going to look at now, he says how to deal in this during prayer. How do we overcome those alien thoughts from the negative inclination, from, let's call it, the animalistic soul during prayer? And okay, so here he goes, reading 28. That even if thoughts, lustful thoughts, imaginations fall, and other alien thoughts fall into one's head during prayer or Torah study, with which we're supposed to have focus on kavanah, al yashes lev aleichem. Do not let your heart dwell in these thoughts. But just distract yourself, avert your mind, as he says here in English, right away from it. So in here he's saying, don't even try to go into the content of the thought, but just get away from the thought as soon as right the moment you see the thought coming into your head, and you catch yourself thinking. Usually, the psychology of it is, I mean, just to use myself as an example, usually what happens, I start thinking the alien thought, and it takes a while, I don't know, a few seconds or more, until I have this secondary thought into my head coming and saying, oh, I'm thinking about something else now, rather than what I'm supposed to be focusing on, right? I'm sure everyone's experienced that. And then that secondary thought becomes that which hopefully we could work with getting rid of the primary alien thought. So that is the yasir dais. To avert the mind is finding the quickest, swiftest, and most simple way of getting rid of the thought without delving into that alien thought. Okay? V'gam, moreover, al yehi shaita. Don't be a fool. To elevate the attributes. This is in support of Yassi, by the way. Yassi, look what he says here. To say lasik, to deal with the elevating the attributes of the alien thought, he uses here in the English translation of Safari the word sublimate. The word so this is in support of your take on it, to sublimate. Though I still would say that means not to get involved in the way of sublimating. Means don't be preoccupied. Kanaida, as is known. So here, actually, he's saying not to do what we just read in Yaakov Yosef Pana. But he explains why here. In other words, don't go into the nature of the lust thought and see how it is in its source above chesed and try to elevate. But no. Why? Because those words were only said for the tzaddik, for the righteous. Okay? Why? Now the question is, if it's a tzaddik, such a righteous person, how's a righteous person having an alien thought of such lasciviousness to begin with? So now he explains. Because these righteous people, the tzaddiks, the reason why they have alien thoughts, it's not their thoughts, but it's other people's thoughts that they absorb and falls into their head. And that's why they say, for example, the Rebbe who has a leader of Hasidim, he could absorb the imperfect thoughts of his followers. So they're not his thoughts per se, but it's their thoughts that come into his head. Why do they come into his head? Because the tzaddik knows how to elevate, dissect those alien thoughts and elevate the good parts. And in that way, he's redeeming his followers' thoughts in a way up to holiness without getting himself personally distracted or schlepped by those distractful thoughts, by those even no thoughts, right? So again, in other words, that that which we read in the Yaakov Yosef Pano of elevating is being reinforced here by the Alter Rebbe, is only the work of a tzaddik per se, not for the Beinoni, not for the average person. All right. So again, being that this is a book written for the average person, the Alter Rebbe, the Rosh Zalman here in this book is not even explaining to us the technique of how to elevate alien thoughts like he does in the book Yaakov Yosef. Okay, he's keeping away from that altogether. He's just saying there is such a way and practice that that exists, but that's not for the average person. And if the average person attempts to do it, he's a fool. But if one has one's own alien thoughts fall into one's head, it's coming from the darkness, the evil, the bad side of his heart. According to the Kabbalah Chassidus, the right side of the heart is the good part side, the left side is the negative side. It's coming from the left side, left chamber of the heart. So he's asking rhetorical. Doesn't make it sense. How could he think that he could elevate that alien thought while he still has that negativity in him? It's like you're part of it. You're already bogged down here by your negative part of your heart. The dark. So you can never, until you get rid of it, which may who knows if you ever will. But you won't be able to. So don't even try to go that way, to elevate it, the content of the alien thought, like the tzaddik does. Just find ways to avert your mind from them entirely. But yet you could think that the fact that you can never elevate the alien thought will be a real letdown. You feel really, you could even get down, even get melancholy and feel, I'm trapped almost by my bad thoughts. I cannot. So now he's saying don't be that. So nonetheless, don't let your heart fall. It means don't be downcast, to be depressed or melancholy, dejectable. That about when you have an alien thought and start thinking, I'm not a good person, I'm not perfect, I'm doing the wrong thing, I'm having alien thoughts. Well, I'm supposed to be praying. I'm so what's the word? I don't know how to daven right. I can't daven right. No, he says don't, because even if you have the alien thought, you still should be with great simcha, great joy, right? But to the contrary, you should be stronger in yourself and gain even more power in your energy of kavanah, having focus of prayer, concentration of prayer, in a way of delight and great joy. Why? Because you begin to be cognizant that the reason that this alien thought fell into, that came from the left side, fell into my head, is in order to bring out this great showdown battle, so to speak, with my divine soul in me. And as it's known, and again, I'm just reading in English what it says in Hebrew, that as it's the nature of people that battle or wrestle with each other, that when one is strong, if one person is putting in his energy to pin you down, then that evokes, musters up even greater strength in you to overpower the one who's trying to overpower you. So you get even stronger through this wrestling match. So therefore, and the more strength you put into it, the more it will bring in the opponent to be stronger. So therefore, the fact that you have even an intense negative thought falling into your head, think the reason is because I must have been praying so greatly, so strong, that was bringing out in my opponent, so to speak, this alien thought to try to knock down my prayer. So actually, this is a signal, the greatest proof that I've been praying amazingly until this point. And it's just coming here to try to distract me and bring me down. And that in itself will therefore bring up even a greater strength than before, to even stronger than that strong prayer, strength of prayer, to knock down even this new alien thought. Okay, and he gives a caveat. But like not like the word, like it's the common error to think that when you have alien thought falls in your head, then it means that your prayer is nothing. That if you would have prayed appropriately, you would not have had the alien thought. But the truth is that if it was so, this would be so if we had only one soul in us. And this one soul that's praying is also thinking the alien thought. Then you could feel bad, because it's this same psyche that is supposed to be praying is a wrong state of thought. But being that the truth is that we have two souls in us that are in perpetual battle, and each one is the one that wants to control us. And that all the good thoughts are coming from the divine soul, and everything else, all the negative thoughts or worldly thoughts, are coming from the animalistic soul, and so on and so forth. And so then it's not your spirit, your divine soul is having the thought. It's the secondary soul that is, and that is just there to distract you. In as much as, like anyone, like if you're praying and someone starts making noise around you, right? Well, I think you're in a meditation room meditating, and then someone starts speaking loudly, or someone's phone starts going off, right? And which is to distract you, which is distracting you. It could even not be the intention of that person or the phone to distract you intentionally. They could even just be they're having a conversation, or just the phone automatically went off. But the fact is, it's distracting you. What's the advice to how to deal with this? Don't give it any insignificance. Don't respond to it at all. Make yourself like you're deaf to it, that you don't hear it, and don't let it affect you. So too, if you have this alien thought, don't get involved with it too much, because whoever gets involved with that which is despicable, or a menuva, like a filthy person, so to speak. If you get too preoccupied with filth, then you get filthy, right? Same thing, you get too involved with your unwanted thought, then you'll get sucked into it, so to speak. So don't, just keep away from it, but make yourself like you don't know about it, you don't hear it. Make yourself deaf to it. It's a practice too, it's a great thing. I was speaking to someone the other day, people who live on very busy streets, and how they learn to deafen out the sounds of the traffic, of the sirens in the street, and so on. It's possible, and to let your mind disconnect from it. And if it is actually too disruptive, and you find that's very difficult or near impossible not to be distracted from whatever it is, the noise, the external noise of prayer, or the internal chatter, so to speak, of alien thoughts or whatever, and you cannot get rid of it, and even the thought of that is just here as something as a challenge to make my prayer even greater, and all that still doesn't work, then the final ultimate technique is just pray in yourself above to God to have mercy on you, to help you in this state of going through this state of having this alien distraction, and that and to respond to you and clean you out from it. And that prayer, internal psychic prayer thought to save you from this alien thought in itself, will become the thought that will overwhelm and get rid of the alien thought and bring you back to the channel, to the prayer that you're supposed to be in. Okay, so there we are. We saw on the nature of prayer, how to deal with distracted thoughts, both from the Yaakov Yosef Pana and from Shneur Zalman Liadi. So thank you, everyone, mamish, from continent to continent, from coast to coast. and Mamish did. As usual, there's so much more to share and say and sing and stories and blah, blah, blah. But just, what can you do? We just have a certain time and limit, time is time. And even though we're talking earlier about infinite, and that's that thing of trying how we can bring the infinite into the finite. So I hope we all experience that on some level here tonight in our finite time of the few hours we share here, that we were able to tap into the infinity within it. The name of what we just read from Tanya is Shneir Zalman. Shneir means double light. Zalman, which is actually what would be it's related to the word Solomon, but Zalman, the letters have the letter Zai and Mem Nun in it, which means Zman in it, time. So we're taking that double intense light, compressing it, bringing it into time, through time. So, time beyond time, I think it's a book or something, maybe by Eliade, or I think it became a Francis Ford Coppola movie at some point, something. Yeah, so we could spend more time talking about time, but rather than that, we'll just say that there's more to come. I will say one last thing about time is that already in our parsha we're conflating the future to the present, because when Moses asks God, what should I tell the Jewish people? What is your name? He says, Ehya Asher, I will be the one that will be. That's the famous I am what I am, or I am that I am, as Popeye would say. But really it's not I am, it's I will be. That means we're creating that future in a present state. We're bringing the future into the now. And that too is what the theme of what we were talking in the beginning tonight, of how we bring redemption, the future, so to speak, even in the now of exile. Then we see the Geula even in Galut, in Gola. And so may we see it really, that light of redemption, even in the darkest states here. And as we know, there's a lot of darkness in the world, and more than one way. And may we just be the torchbearers, purveyors of light, the lampchernik, as they used to call it in the old Eastern Europe. Those the lamplighters. So yeah, we all are that, and it starts, as we said earlier, with Moses. And Moses, not just a person thousands of years ago out there, and it's not even just certain leaders now, even now, but there's a mini Moses in us all, and hopefully we'll get to speak about that in the future too. So keep on being, keep on shining, keep on being a light, light upon light upon light, shining as bright as the sun. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Love upon love upon love, all hearts are beating as one. Light upon light upon light, shining brighter than the sun. We'll end off here. L'chaim, everyone. L'chaim. And have a healthy winter. Yeah. May you keep on being good. Tevet, Tov. Good. All right. Guess what? Already by next week, it's going to be, I think, the month of Shvat. New month coming. Before you know, it's going to be Tu B'Shvat. Wow. Isn't it? It was just last year. Here we are again. Beautiful. Okay. Laila Tov, Boker Tov, everyone. Mubarach. Okay.